Israeli and British scientists used 3 random skulls gathered from the area near Jerusalem and various inferences on their part to produce this deer in the headlights Jesus. It rather became something of an internet phenomena, but as is sadly so often the case, the internet is wrong. The true face of Jesus Christ has been known to us for millennia, for it is imprinted upon the Shroud of Turin, Christ's burial cloth. It is not so well known, however, is how many mysteries the shroud reveals, and how it proves, beyond the shadow of a doubt, Christ's real presence in the Eucharist.
An approximately 14 by just under 4-foot linen cloth used to inter Jesus Christ in what was the custom of the Jews, as mentioned in Matthew 27:59, Mark 15:46, Luke 23:53, and John 19:40, this sacred artifact miraculously retained his blood and image in perfect three-dimensional detail, baffling the faithful, scientists, and skeptics alike for thousands of years.
The Shroud of Turin was wrapped lengthwise around Jesus' body, and, as also noted in 2 Gospels, laid apart and folded up after his resurrection, possibly by Jesus himself.
Various mainstream sources with underlying anti-Christian bias have claimed that this shroud was only referred to in history starting at the 14th century. Very little could be further from the truth. Rather, there are references to it made as early as the beginning of Christianity itself.
There is a lost gospel, referred to as the Gospel of the Hebrews. It states that the shroud was entrusted by Christ himself to a very important priest, presumably St. Peter. This suggests that it was intended from the beginning to be used for the preaching of the gospel and the verification of our Lord. St. Paul refers to using the shroud to present Christ to the Greeks in Galatia. Evidently, the shroud traveled a fair bit. Athanasius, Bishop of Alexandria, reports that an image of our Lord at full length, most certainly the shroud, was transported in 68 AD from Jerusalem to Antioch due to rising tensions and conflicts between Jewish zealots and their Roman rulers, who destroyed Jerusalem completely 2 years later. Abgar the Great, king of Edessa, somewhere between 177 and 189 AD, requested permission from Pope Eleutherius to be baptized a Christian. He would convert Edessa to a Christian city and a safe haven both for Christians and the shroud. He was most likely sent Bishop Abersis Marcellus for the task. The bishop recorded in his travels in the style of the Discipline of the Secret, which was a code language. This is where we get the Christian fish from, ichthyos, so that Christians could communicate in secret, even under oppressive rulers. And in the Discipline of the Secret, he refers to receiving the shroud and the bloodstains that still remained upon it. There are extremely detailed reports from 4th century Antioch, which describe how the shroud was laid out on the altar as part of Eucharistic ceremonies. When Antioch was sacked by Romans, the shroud was hidden until it was at last discovered around 530 in district adjacent to the city's Gate of the Cherubim, where already a throng of people were admiring and adoring it. This is according to a monk named John Moskos. Outside of Jerusalem, Antioch, and Edessa, people didn't know what Christ looked like, so they made the same mistake that was made by the people in 2000 to 2003 who made the deer in the headlights Jesus. They assumed Jesus looked like any other man. They assumed he was clean cut, short haired, clean shaven, just like a standard Greco-Roman citizen. And that is how he was depicted for the first 5 centuries of Christian history, specifically until 554, when Orthodox priests paraded the shroud. They were Catholic, of course, too, because it was only 554, but they paraded the shroud through Cilicia and Cappadocia, lands, not mere cities, for everyone to see. And that is when everything changed. Suddenly, artwork was no longer depicting a generic Jesus Christ. It was depicting the long-haired, bearded Son of God with the same facial structure we have come to recognize, and that has been present in stained glass and other holy artwork throughout the history of sacred art from that point onward. Because they saw the shroud, they knew what Jesus looked like. That in itself provides very strong evidence, one might say extremely strong, for the shroud's existence from the beginning. And that will prove very important when countering naysayers who doubt its authenticity. Next time, we'll be dealing with the shrouds being put to the test. A year before I was born, in 1978, a group of scientists, 20 scientists, used every available technology at the time to test the veracity of the shroud. And then we'll deal with what they came up with.
Repenting, I have come to join your fight. I am the dark, I am the dark, I am the dark, but I'll help you.